What's up, you guys? Today we're going to be IDing one of the rarest Buicks that I've ever laid my hands on. It's a 1970 Buick GSX Stage 1. And we're back today with another light your fire car from Buick. Hey Steve, thanks for supporting the channel. This one's for you today. So unfortunately, you're never able to ID these cars by the VIN, so we're going to be walking through all the details on how you ID that it is in fact a true GSX. And we're going to start off by going through the interior. So here we are inside of the car. Of course, we have our black bucket seat interior. So it's trim tag code 188, which I'll show you later when we look at the body tag. Here's a quick shot of the condition of the interior. Overall, it's in very nice condition. So here we have the GSX wheel. It's actually 1 inch smaller overall diameter than your sport wheel, but it does have a larger diameter grip and there's no center trim ring going around the steering wheel. Here are the gauges, and with the rally gauges, we have all of the gauges here. Here is the 24-hour clock, which you can see inside. We have the 24-hour clock on the inside and the 12-hour clock on the outside. Now these are the flat lenses. So all the early cars in 70 came with the pointed lenses. So as mentioned before, it is an auto. It's a floor shift. And all 70 GSs that are floor shift come with the wood grain handle. And then of course, we have the infamous GSX logo right there on the dash. So this is a black deluxe interior. You can see we've got the waffle on the seats and as well as the waffle on the door cards, accompanied by the GS logo. We do have the rear seats. We had to take them out so that we could get into the trunk because of course keys did not come with the car. So with the GSX package, you of course get the sport mirrors. So the sport mirror does have remote control on this side, and on the passenger side, it is only a manual mirror. All the GSXs came with a GS logo here and no GSX logo on the door card. But again, we'd had the GSX logo here. Now this door has been taken apart. Had to get inside to get the lock cylinder off. We want to get that over to a locksmith so we can get keys. We do have all the pieces and the door was complete. So standard interior in 71 and up would be a 12-inch armrest. Now you could get a GS with a column shift, of course, for automatic. In the GSX, you are only going to get a floor shift. Now something cool to point out is there is a map light here on the rear view mirror. I need to verify if that's an option or if that was standard. All right, let's move to the exterior of the car and we can start to look at some of the really cool details that make a GSX unique. So if you're an LS6 Chevelle owner, this is probably the first time you've ever seen the front end of a Buick GSX. I know you're super familiar with seeing the taillights, so you can go ahead and skip that section once we go through the front end of this car. Don't forget to smash the like button and hit subscribe if you love torque. If not, you're probably a Mopar owner. So how do we know we have an original GSX spoiler? Let's look at some of the details here. Also, on a side note, is this red stripe here supposed to be here, or is that incorrect? So we can verify that this spoiler was in fact installed on the assembly line and is an original production spoiler because of the one weep hole on the 70 spoiler. If this was a 71 spoiler, it would have 2 weep holes, one of them being offset to the driver's side. And if it's a 72 spoiler, it would have a second weep hole offset to the passenger side. Or if it was a service replacement later on, it would have the additional hole. So if it was in fact a 71 spoiler, it would have the second hole here to the driver's side, and that would be a 3-inch space. Now if it was a 72, again, that hole is over to the passenger side, and that would have been a 3 3/4. Now the 70 vent hole is actually quite smaller than the holes you'll see on the 71 and the 72 spoiler. And here you can see that it is almost directly in the center line of the car. So to tell the difference between a 70, 71, and a 72 original spoiler, you measure from tip to tip on the pedestal. The 70 original spoiler will measure approximately 4 1/4 from tip to tip. And if it's a 71 original or 72, it will actually measure 4 3/4 inches tip to tip. So it's a bit longer. They are also much heavier. So a 70 spoiler is going to weigh approximately around 9.25 pounds, and a 71 to 72 you're going to weigh 15 to about 16.5 pounds. And then of course we have the holes, and inside of the hole we have the actual brackets for the spoiler. Now one super interesting thing about the GSX is it is supposed to have a larger diameter tension rod here to make up for the added weight of the spoiler. So I've actually got a caliper here. We're going to measure this and then we're going to compare it to the 70 Stage 1 that I have next to this car and see what the difference is. So we've got a 0.32. 0.32. All right, now let's go check it on the other car. I already got the trunk lid popped on that. This is the other 05B car that I was referring to. Built in the same week, same plant, same production line. How crazy is that? Because they're both Stage 1 cars. And of course that was a GSX. All right, now let's take a look at this one. But there you go. It is significantly smaller when measured on a caliper. I'm not sure if you'd be able to tell by touching it, but that is a cool piece of information. So we actually took the mirror off of the car, the original mirrors, put the part numbers here on screen, and we also have seen that you can verify by the support plate with an X being stamped on it. So in 1970, the sport mirrors came exclusively on the GSX. On 71 and 72, they later became options, but in 70, you had to have a GSX to get these. So here is the support plate, but I don't see an X stamped on it. I've looked over it, and I don't really see anything. So I'm not sure if that's 100% accurate, or maybe this is a clone. This could be the deciding factor, and the car may have just lost 200% in value. Here is the support, or the mounting base. See the part number on that as well. Now this GSX does have a posi 364 gear because it's a non-AC car, and we'll try to get a look under here. So there is the limited slip oil additive tag for the diff. We do also have, I believe it was called like rally ride suspension. So we have the box control arms, the rear sway bar. Crawled a bit farther under, and there you can see we have the chassis brace right there, and somebody put some glass packs on it at one point. We also have the factory big block bump stop here on the rear axle. And there is the ON code on the axle. So the rocker molding does not have the red GS stripes, but it does have black. And you can see there are remnants of it being black. Now one interesting fact is all GSXs that came with a manual trans, standard was a 4-speed, where standard on a GS would be a 3-speed manual. Now it's also supposed to have, I believe, a quick ratio steering box in the front. It does have the big block steering coupler. Let's get this hood popped and take a look. So underneath the hood, of course, we have the tach. The hole has been cut out for the tach, and we do have the infamous clip. Of course, with the hood tach, you do have the missing insulation that doesn't come in on that side. So over here, behind the booster and the master, you can see there's a rubber grommet right there. That's for the hood tach. So that's the factory rubber grommet for the hood tach to go through the firewall. So here is the connector and the wire lead going to that grommet. Let's see if I can get it in focus. There you go, which would in fact connect right to the hood tach. Now, unfortunately, this car was missing the front spoiler, but we confirmed with the owner in the 80s that it was missing when they owned it. So this car hasn't had a front spoiler on it for a very long time. It was ripped off early in its life. But we do have bits and pieces of the baffle. It goes underneath. And you can see the holes have been drilled into the core support. We actually have a little bit of evidence here of the center support for the front spoiler that would have been broken off. You can see there that it is in fact broken. We also have a hole right there. Would have been a mounting hole. So here we have a hole for the factory installed spoiler, and there it is on the other side. So I went ahead and took a wheel off, and standard in the GSX package is front disc brakes. And here we even have the original 2-piece rotor. So you can see this ring here is separate and riveted or pressed down, however that's on there. And then we also have original ball joints still riveted in. And you can see this rotor has gone through so many sets of pads. There's not much life left in it. So you can see here, we do have the 2-piece big block steering coupler. There is the bolt right there. Big block 455 frame side engine mounts are right there. And you can see here on the core support, it does say SAE 70. So here we have the factory installed GSX grill emblem, which was confirmed by looking at the part number here at the back side. It's going to be very difficult to see. Right on the bottom, I'll try to point it out here on screen. You can see the part number. So the washer tank is mounted lower, correct for a 70. So here we have the overflow tank is correct for a late 70 with the black top, and we do have the metal radiator top panel. Another thing to note on the headlight bucket is you can see that these were actually painted with the black epoxy. On the assembly line, they painted them, covering the chrome with black epoxy primer, and then painted them yellow. So we can see there some of the primer is sticking through. And here you can see we do have the X-bar right there, which was part of the GSX suspension package. So a common problem actually with the hood tachs is they would fog up. So GM, to fix this, put a service bulletin out actually, but this car does not have it. But customers would have to request about having an issue with it fogging up, and they would actually drill a hole into the box here and place an elbow with a vacuum line that would go to the hood tach all the way over there and actually put heat or air conditioning in there to stop it from fogging up. So here you can see we have the 188, which matches our black bucket seat interior, and it is in fact QQ Saturn Yellow, and you can see here in the top right corner the body number. And then this is an 05B production, which is month of May, month 5, B being the second week of May. Now of course with the GSX, obviously it came with an appearance package that included our rear spoiler, GSX logo here on the quarter panel, the stripe package, the sport mirrors. It would have WG wheels and G60 tires, accompanied with the stripes on the hood and a hood tach. You also would have a front spoiler, and that would have been delivered in the trunk of the vehicle that they would install at the dealer. Included in the appearance package, we have the painted headlight doors and of course a GSX grille emblem. Now if the car is a Stage 1, it did not get a Stage 1 badge on the fender like you'll see on other GS Stage 1s. And the stripes were in fact painted. There's always a lot of debate over if they were painted with satin black or flat black or gloss black, and was the hood and the side stripe a different black? Was one gloss, like you have a gloss stripe or semi-gloss on the side and flat on the hood? Now there's conflicting stories and evidence out there, and I'm not sure if everyone has really come to a conclusion. I've heard a story where the painters were just too lazy to change their clear guns, so you just got the same, although engineers had requested for two different styles, where you would have flat black on the hood so it doesn't blind the driver while driving. So then of course with the GSX package, the GSX logo on the quarter was in fact a decal, as well as on the spoiler, these were decals that were applied. And lastly, on the rocker moldings, they came with a black stripe and not a red stripe that you'll see on all the other GS cars. Now in fact, no 70 GSXs came with a vinyl top, although a vinyl top could be ordered on a 71 or a 72. I'm not sure why anybody would want that, but it is an option. So here's the part number on the frame, which tells us that it's a 70 big block car, obviously not a convertible. And then we have the decode. So we had to pull the gas tank out because it was leaking, and we were able to see that there is factory yellow overspray underneath the car. So here we have the transmission crossmember. We still need to verify that it has a big block part number on it, so we're gonna get that out and get the part number on there, which would be holding the BB trans that goes into Stage 1 GSX. So here you can see some of the original Saturn Yellow overspray poking through the rust proofing that was put on this car early in its life, which is a huge contributor to why we don't have any holes in the floor. So here you can see it does in fact have the WG wheels. You can see how deep the dish is right there. So here's a quick tip on how to identify if you do have a WG wheel from the front of the wheel. You can just lay a quarter in there and it's supposed to fit. I think you can see that it fits perfectly almost. So there's a few things that are not original to the car. Really curious if you're able to catch them. Let me know what you think they are, or anything that stood out to you, or let me know if there's anything I said that you think is incorrect. I'd love to cover it in the next video. So leave a comment down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe, show some support, so you can continue to watch the journey of this car. So you may have noticed that this is in fact a Stage 1. In my next video, I'll go over how we're able to identify that this car is in fact a true Stage 1.
Buick should have never made a car this loud and this fast, but man, am I glad they did.